What's up, everyone? Welcome back to The Ghost of Lord Master Starscream. And today I am joined by, Megatronus Primal. Glad you could join us. And Autocorrect Prima and Ruben Soto. And today we will be talking about, and by the way, spoilers, we will be talking about Transformers Kingdom. Yes, the third and final season of the War for Cybertron trilogy saga. But it's not the end. This is a new beginning. And glad everyone can join, so I guess say whatever, and we'll get started. Oh, and by the way, I will point this out. Ruben hasn't seen the season yet because his Netflix was acting all stupid or something like that, so...
Yeah, it's just being my Netflix being a total jerk for some reason, and damn it. Well,
so we will be talking spoilers. So he's good with spoilers. So, all right. And since I usually talk too much, is there anything you guys want to bring up about the season, or anything you want to discuss?
I do have a request if they bring for the next season for next year.
It was all right.
Yeah, but it was pretty good.
I enjoyed it, actually. I was very happy with it, to be honest. It was problematic in some areas, but overall it was really good.
Yeah. And I enjoyed I enjoyed it. It was pretty good. I know some people criticize it, but I actually enjoyed it. And a little bit of the story they went with and all that, and also bringing back some of the Beast Wars references.
Mm-hmm. And Easter eggs. Don't forget about that.
Yeah.
We love some good Easter eggs.
Well,
not that kind of Easter egg.
It was better than the Masters of the Universe piece of crap that they had come out.
And I will say this, since I talked about in a spoiler discussion that Octobotimus did, I talked about since Waspinator and Pterosaur and Tarantulas wasn't in it. Well, I guess it's confirmed on what happened to them, because it says Primal and I guess T-Rex Megatron or Predacon Megatron said that they've been fighting there for some time. And the Maximals, there was 200 Maximals there. And then they got a lot of them got wiped out. And then T-Rex Megatron said to Primal, you decimated some of my ranks. So that would be Waspinator, Tarantulas, and Pterosaur.
Damn, that's depressing, though.
It is.
Well, the question is, can we have a Pterosaur figure?
Well, here's the thing. I think that them going back into the Allspark is going to rejuvenate. So the thing about Transformers is that there's always this hint of rejuvenation, or this, them being reformatted and reformed. They're never really dead. There's another version of them. I am curious, though, what they're going to do about Cybertron, since it was completely decimated. And seeing Alita 1 land in the ice was heart-wrenching. Yeah.
Let me
kind of creepy.
Hang on a minute. And I do want to add that and I'm going to bring this up, and this made me cry. I was borrowing my nephew's Netflix. I stayed up till 4 a.m. when Dinobot bit the dust, and I love how he died in this series, going through the hero arc. I cried. Like, it was so hard to be quiet, not to wake him up. I was crying seeing him die again.
Same here.
Damn, that sucks.
Let me do this.
Oh, hey, ACP. Long time no see, man.
You guys are going on the bottom. Get on the bottom. Yeah, you guys go on the bottom. All right. But, yeah, and, so, yeah, I literally cried on that part.
Yeah,
and I was F in the chat for Dinobot Death again, please. F in the chat.
Trust me.
Is there
I'm just happy they didn't do anything woke with Air Razor and Black Arachnia RC. Like they do that. There is that one part, where she gets his Air Razor on the cheek, but it's kind of like a reference to the original show when Rat Trap kissed Rhinox.
And
I was
Go
excited
ahead,
to see
Otto.
the characters they used in the for the Beast characters. I feel like I would like to see more of the Predacons. Waspinator, at least one more, other than Scorponok, where he had multiple of him, like he was procreating. Like he was constantly going.
I'll take 20.
I did like Air Razor. What's that?
I said I'll
At
take
least
20.
we didn't have a fembot that was like Tila that was hulked out on steroids or yeah.
Oh.
And
I mean, like there were some funny jokes, like the pink one's cute
What was y'all's
from Black
favorite
Arach. What?
What was that, Otto? Hey, Otto. We couldn't hear what you said. What was that last question you said or asked, man?
Otto?
Okay, I
Told me
guess.
his internet crash or something. Oh, he's busy.
No,
I'm here.
there's noise going on in the background.
A little bit both. What was y'all's favorite part?
I don't know.
It's probably the fan that got going this point.
Well, my favorite part was, my favorite part was when Starscream got to read the golden disc, and he was terrified and he's scared out of his mind because he knows what's coming. And I'm going to say this: and not that I know of, never in a Transformers series have I ever seen Starscream that scared and willing to do the right thing. Besides Transformers Armada. So yeah, I enjoyed that.
Can I just say I like the Maximals and Predacons all together? Just they're my favorite part of this whole. Like they were really fun to watch.
What about you, Megatronus Primal? What was your favorite thing about the series or part, whatever?
Hey.
Probably my least favorite part would be the part where Mirage just throws Astro Train like a brick. That was stupid.
Oh yeah, yeah. Just threw him in the cell with Scorponok.
Trust me, if after coming out of Revelations, that's probably like Revelations. Like just, I'm just glad Transformers will never go woke because there's no need for identity politics and just. I know they have that one part, my hero with Black Arachnia and Air Razor, but it's kind of like when Rat Trap did to Rhinox. Remember that in the old Beast Wars?
What's up, TFN Geek? Glad you could join us.
Hey.
How's that new laptop working? Got a camera on it?
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. That's what I'm using to talk with you guys right now.
Cool. By the way, TFN Geek, you watched the season?
I did. I woke up this morning around 2:00, and I stayed up 3 hours until 5 in the morning watching all 6 episodes.
What'd you think?
Oh, it was impressive. More.
Oh, God.
It was more than I had comprehended.
I still can't believe Unicron created the golden disc.
Oh, I'll have to bring that up because he didn't. I kind of caught a little. I'll bring that up later on, but
yeah,
there was a mention that he didn't, and how it, you know what I mean. By the way, TFN Geek, I was going to ask, can Dinobot get a break? I think he turned into Kenny now.
Yeah, that's Waspinator you're thinking of.
No, because Waspinator just gets injured. Dinobot actually dies.
But it means something. It's like, oh my God, I killed Waspinator.
You scraplet.
I had a question. Who watched the part?
Let me get rid of this.
Raptor Truck getting kicked.
Oh yeah, he was kicked by Nemesis Prime. Let me do that.
I feel bad for
Yeah.
him though.
Who
Now,
does
how are you doing, Autocorrect Primer?
I'm doing. That's about all I'm going to say. I
You
am.
still pissed about
okay.
Revelations?
Mm,
Yeah.
well,
I have a big question for
No.
everyone.
No, Yeah. What?
Go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead, Otto. Oh,
But yes, I am.
how,
Let's talk about Revelations, Master Far. What's that? What's that, Ghost?
I was going to ask. How do you and I'm going to ask everyone this. How do you guys feel about Nemesis Prime being a reformatted version of Optimus Prime? From
just like
I guess-
Galvatron?
Yeah, from I guess we'll start from the
Yes.
top and work our way down. I guess we'll do that. We'll go in order. See. So, what do you think about it, Megatronus Primal? Your opinions.
It's cool.
Hmm.
All right. TFN Geek.
I thought it was an interesting take on Nemesis Prime's origins. I mean, I'm always going to be biased about how he was created in Armada being a clone of Optimus Prime.
He
But
was
the
also
idea
a
that
herald of Unicron.
but
He was Unicron in that
Yeah.
series.
that's my point. I've always enjoyed that origin story for Nemesis Prime, but the way they told it in here, I think it was a much darker story that they told involving Nemesis Prime's origins. You know, that Unicron's capable of corrupting even Optimus Prime into doing whatever he wants.
How about you, Otto?
I like the fact that we finally see that the one that's been orchestrating it this entire time has been Unicron. And it was interesting because me and Nikki were talking about it. I was like, you know what? It's like you're listening to the Autobots and you listen to the Predacons and the Decepticons. They don't believe that Unicron exists. And it's kind of like in our world today where you have people don't believe the devil exists. And then all of a sudden the devil makes his appearance and he can corrupt anyone that he touches. And seeing Optimus Prime being his counterpart, Nemesis Prime, I was like, that's actually really cool. I actually like that. I'm with TFN Geek about it being the clone. I've always liked that part of it too. But you know, him being a herald and having those two working together is just I cannot wait to see where they go with that.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Master Far? What do you think about Nemesis Prime being a reformat, or you know what I mean, man?
None of us think about it until now. Like, none of us thought of it. Like, not even Godbot. Like, he made in Universal Collision, yeah, he was a herald of Unicron, but never, like, how did none of us think of this?
Well, I think they did drop a little bit of a hint in Earthrise when Skylynx said to Optimus, "A much darker future awaits," and then you see Nemesis Prime.
I still can't believe none of us thought of the whole idea of these two being one and the same.
I agree with you, Master Far. I was very surprised by the whole thing.
Yeah, and again, what I said earlier, how Nemesis Prime started off as a clone, I think it took everyone by surprise because everyone's always viewed Nemesis Prime as being an entirely separate character from Optimus Prime. You know, it's like Nemesis Prime is Unicron's version of Optimus Prime, and the idea that Nemesis Prime is Optimus Prime's dark thoughts come out to the surface by Unicron. I don't think any of us have ever thought the idea that Optimus Prime will become evil enough that he would serve Unicron. So I think that's where the War for Cybertron Netflix series take on Nemesis Prime is what caught us off guard.
I like it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's enjoyable.
I'm going to say this. And real quick, I just want to point this out there. I like that for one of the Beast Wars references, they actually do have a Starscream and Black Arachnia have a little bit of a relationship.
I
just
totally
like in,
called it.
The Beast. I enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm.
Air Commander Starscream.
And also a little hint. And also
that was Nikki's favorite part.
Yeah, and also one of
about Starscream and Black Arachne. Having a little.
Oh, hey, Nikki.
I also like when they're all hallucinating and all of that. Starscream gets the vision of his crown.
Oh yeah, and his coronation cape.
Yeah, and Sideswipe starts hugging the air to get Sunstreaker.
Uh-huh.
Oh God, that I thought for sure we were going to see some. Whenever he had that smile on his face, he said Sunstreaker. So clearly, Sunstreaker is probably dead. I guess that's another character confirmed because.
So is Perceptor.
Yeah.
And
What did you think, Ruben?
Well, clearly with
like I said, I haven't
everybody
seen
that was
the show
left
yet, but
behind.
I do have a theory. Is that
That was
okay, you
a-
guys? I have a theory.
well, I guess you could go. You could go ahead and share a theory since
Yeah,
you haven't
like I
seen
said, I
it
haven't
yet.
seen it
Go
because
ahead.
my Netflix it hates me. All right, so I have a theory. Why does Nemesis Prime go with a Unicron? Like, here's for example. We already seen like some of the clips saying, if you take the Allspark of this realm, everything will die. Well, all of us. But what is
Yeah,
Nemesis Prime mission is?
Well,
Well-
Skylink said Prime would die, and then he'd become Nemesis Prime.
Maybe.
And
Or something's fishy. I don't like it.
I really want to say this. I love the conflict between all of the factions. Like, one, I'm going to say this. Like, the Maximals do not trust the Autobots because they had to deal with Nemesis Prime and Galvatron, so they don't trust the Autobots because of their history. And also, Primal does not like Optimus Prime because he blames him for what happened to Cybertron. And also, Galvatron and Nemesis Prime and Optimus Prime and Megatron both have different views. Like, Megatron and Optimus Prime want to return the Allspark to Cybertron and save their planet, but Galvatron and Nemesis Prime want to use the Allspark to kill Unicron. And I and I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah. Autocorrect Primer, you were going to say something earlier?
Oh shoot.
Oh, I was just going to say that, yeah, like y'all just pointed out, Nemesis Prime and Galvatron working together was surprising. But at the same time, it makes me wonder if they're making Unicron how they used to have Primus, where Primus was in every reality and was all the same in all the realities. And it finally got changed. God, I can't remember when it got changed, but it got changed. And I wonder if that's how they're saying, this is what Unicron is. He's across time, the dead dimensions.
Yeah.
And also on top of that, anyone that was left behind on Cybertron is all dead.
Oh, yeah.
No survivors.
Except
At
two.
the end of because at the end of Earthrise, it showed Jetfire and Red Alert were among the survivors, but then all of a sudden in Kingdom it shows that they're dead. They didn't survive Cybertron's destruction when Elita 1 destroyed Shockwave. But yeah, in the Transformers book that I have, it was Simon Furman who created the idea that there is only one Unicron across every different reality, every different universe in existence. There's only one Unicron, and that every time his body's destroyed, his soul just enters another universe. And I think what the Kingdom series established is that the dead universe is the dimension that Unicron hops into whenever he ends up in a universe where he gets defeated by the Transformers. So it's no problem. He'll just go to another universe where he'll be able to finally conquer the Transformers, and he keeps exploring until he finally finds one.
And he conquers several.
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
What do y'all think about?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Autocorrect Primer.
What do y'all think about the fact that, like you were saying, he's across time and everything, but what do y'all think about the future of Transformers? is this going to be where everything is going to be a spinoff from this, and we're going to just deal with different realities, or that's what was left open to me, because so I was like,
yeah.
Well, yeah, Earth's.
Well, just a quick question. I'm sorry to interrupt. Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead. I'll let Kramer finish, please.
No, I'm sorry, guys. 1 second. Nikki was asking me something. I apologize. That was all my train of thought. Y'all go right ahead. I'm still listening.
Yeah. So I was just gonna say the final scene in Kingdom where Unicron finds Galvatron and Nemesis Prime floating in space again. I kind of felt like that scene was an epilogue. Like Unicron destroyed Cybertron. He made the Transformers go across the universe. He made Transformers from different moments of history, time travel, and interact with each other when they never were originally supposed to meet. But despite all of that, Unicron never actually revealed himself to any of the Transformers. The only characters who actually have seen Unicron are Galvatron and Nemesis Prime.
And he killed them.
Yeah. Well, no, he didn't. He just, in the final scene, they're shown being reformatted. So the question is, what did Unicron transform Galvatron and Nemesis Prime into? And so what I took away from that final scene was that Unicron finally realizes that the dead universe is the perfect dimension for him to travel across the multiverse. And I think they ended it on that way to like leave it open to interpretation. Like anything is possible for what happens in the next Transformers series after Kingdom comes to its conclusion at the end of this year. I think that's what Hasbro and Takara Tomy were going for. But one of the discussions that's been going across the internet on the fan-based websites is that next year is going to mark the 20th anniversary of Transformers Armada. And so with Kingdom ending on this epilogue focusing on Unicron, is Unicron going to enter the universe of Transformers Armada? And is that how...
Well, here's the thing.
Go ahead, Otto.
Yes.
I'm looking at like what TFN Geek's saying, and I agree with you. But the thing is, it says that he has orchestrated all this from the beginning. He's done this on purpose to make there to be factions. I don't think we're done with the Beast Wars yet, but I do think that we'll also have a jump. I think there will be a ragtag team, and I think that's what we saw with Optimus and Bumblebee, and then also Optimus Primal, and them now being out of time or out of sync. I think you're right. I think we're going to be thrown into another universe, and that they're going to actually have to be the ones to try and stop the Unicron trilogy from happening. Or is it the beginning of it? I would like that. Yeah. That would be really cool to see.
Yeah. And for me,
and he's probably right. He was right about Kingdom.
I'm going to say this. It kind of got me a theory, but this is a theory that I went with, and also it kind of made me think what Octobotimus was saying whenever he said that this could lead into a Unicron trilogy or the Unicron trilogy. It made me think, because you don't see what Galvatron and Optimus Prime are being reformatted into, because I'll say this, the doors to the planet mode close, and it made me think that.
Yeah, when you
it don't matter. Yeah, and it made me think
I think they're going to be merged together.
Well, my theory is that they could. My theory is that they might be reformatted into the Armada Optimus Prime. One. Or the Armada Optimus Prime and the Armada Megatron. Since we are leading into a toy line. But go ahead, Otto.
That or they could be fused together into Armada Sideways. A herald that's really loyal to Unicron. That's what I was thinking.
That's what I was thinking. That's why I was like, when you see the two and you pay attention, because Nikki pointed this out to me. She's like, do you realize that when they're being broken down, he's actually pushing them together, where you actually see half of Optimus and half of Galvatron side by side as if they're being merged together. And I was like, so we went back and did frame by frame by frame, and I was like, oh my gosh, when he's closing his mouth, that's exactly what you see. You see Nemesis and Galvatron, and it's like they're going into the same person.
They're being
So
merged together.
that would be where he would have the perfect Herald. Yeah.
Yeah, and in my opinion, the perfect Herald would be Sideways.
And that's a scary thought.
Because like when you think about it, what was in Transformers Armada? What was Sideways? What was his main gimmick? His main gimmick, his main gimmick was that he was both an Autobot and a Decepticon, and with one switch of one of his Minicon heads, he went back and forth at will. Because he had two different heads, an Autobot head and a Decepticon head. And so what I'm thinking is, because like when you look at Sideways' paint job, he's mostly charcoal gray with purple highlights. I mean, he's mostly purple with charcoal gray highlights. Yeah.
Yep.
And so, but this is my thing. This is my fan theory. If from a marketing strategy for Hasbro and Takara Tomy, I'm thinking that Kingdom mixing the Generation 1 and Beast Wars characters together, I think what they're going to try and do now is see how many characters from the various series that Hasbro has treated as being a different universe, an entirely different reality, how many of them are Hasbro and Takara Tomy going to try and bring together before they finally realize we've added everyone from throughout the Transformers franchise together on the table. That's what I'm thinking they're going to do, like a collage of characters from all the various Transformers series. Like we've got Beast Wars and G1 brought together. So what my fan theory is from a marketing strategy, I think Hasbro and Takara Tomy are going to try and see how many series they can bring together before Unicron finally threatens the extinction of the Transformers.
Well, I'll share this, and this goes all the way back to this goes all the way back to when I was on another live stream, and I said this over a year ago. With copyrights, Hasbro and Takara, because I'm having to do it with my own characters. You can have, if you go to your toy store and you look on the shelf, it says Marvel's Rhino or Marvel's Frogman or something like that, and it has Marvel in front of it. That's the actual copyrighted name. So when the copyright laws changed back in 2018 going into 2019, and I was having to do all this for my own personal characters that I've created, I said that Hasbro is going to have to narrow down how many characters they have and have a core class of characters that they're going to copyright those names, and that's the names they're going to have to use nonstop, and that every other name that they put into or put out there will be what's known as a loose copyright. It's just a copyright that's just for that particular time, instead of having to go from season to season or cross platforms, because that's how the copyrights have changed. Is that you used to get copyrights on your characters, you'd have to worry about getting a copyrighted for also for TV, also for the movies, also for book form. This is why Mattel is losing the copyrights of He-Man, Masters of the Universe, and that's why I think He-Man is being run into the ground. Is that it reverts back to Paramount at the end of the year 2023. And that's when all these copyrights go into effect, is in the year 2023. And this is what I was saying a year ago, knowing what I had to do for my copyrights for my characters. Hasbro's already showing that that's what they're doing. They have to, because you can't have any longer. What would happen is that if you go and look, you see my book that's out there. It's called T, the Arid Adventures. Well, I have 30 characters inside that book, different characters. Well, the copyrights changed in 2018 and goes into effect for 2023. I have to have a copyright for each character. That's very expensive. That's very expensive. Instead of what used to be an umbrella where you had the names copyrighted under Transformers or under G.I. Joe or under Masters of the Universe, and it was a blanket copyright for as many characters you wanted to have within that book. That's all changing because of Disney.
Who's getting sued by Scarlett Johansson?
Yes, they are.
That's
yes,
another
I
story.
realize she is too. But this is what I was
Yeah.
saying when I was in that live stream on that other platform. I was saying this, and everyone was thinking that I was making it up. I was saying I'm not making it up. This is going to happen, and it will be in effect. We only got an extension. The only reason why we got an extension is because everything shut down in the year 2020. So we got the extension to 2023. It was supposed to go into effect 2022. So that would have been next year.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. I'm gonna get going, guys. I'm tired.
All right.
Okay, Master Car.
I can't wait to see your Revelations review, man.
Oh, it'll be coming.
You've worked
It will
with
be
some
coming.
people who worked for Filmation, right?
I sure did.
And probably people from the Mike Young Productions. You probably met the Four Horsemen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and fans
Derek's
aren't happy.
Fury.
And artists. Yeah.
Derek's Fury. Oh, cool!
Yeah.
You got
Oh,
tracks.
Nice,
Yeah.
man.
Tracks. Damn it.
Yeah. I got tracks too.
Yeah.
Be careful. Oh well, you're the one that sent me the video for so yeah,
Let me do this.
his little thing does work. So if yours is like that, TFN Geek, it does work. He
Okay. Yeah, but take a
Nice.
Take a look at tracks. He was packaged at an angle.
Hey, you're kind of muffled up a bit. Just letting you know.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
There you go. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's better.
Yeah, so my copy of tracks, he's packaged at an angle. He wasn't packaged in properly.
By the way, your camera quality is pretty good.
mine wasn't either.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks.
Mine
It's the new
was-
camera on my laptop.
Oh, nice. Mine was actually not. The tabs were in there, but his the upper chest tab strap was not on him. It was behind him. It was like I was like, this is odd.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this, and I'm curious. What did you guys think about the Autobot arc and it learning through the dead universe how to transform? Or I'll say this. What do you think of the character of the arc for that one episode? Go ahead.
I enjoyed seeing the arc transform into a robot mode.
And just destroying the Nemesis or
I
damaging
loved
it,
it because it was the last Autobot.
Autonomous Maximus.
Yep.
Mhm.
And I thought it was interesting. He was never mentioned by name, but only Wheeljack just calls him Teletrain 1. So I just think it's cool that the Autobot arc is just named Teletrain 1.
Yeah. And that's the
That's
thing,
cool.
because if you listen closely, when Wheeljack asks, "Where in the world did you learn to transform?" and Teletran 1 responds, "From the data stream of the dead universe." So again, just like Unicron, Teletran 1, while in the dead universe, he looked at all the different universes, and this is one thing that I found kind of a little bittersweet about, is because it's implied that Teletran 1 looked into the universe of the last Autobot and found out about that the arc was the same size as the size of robot that the last Autobot was. And unfortunately, in order to understand and that to have gotten that and understood that, you'd have to have prior knowledge about who the last Autobot is and the comic book story starring Autonomous Maximus. And so
Yes.
I enjoyed seeing that referenced, but then I thought to myself, you know what? The reason I was able to get that and enjoy it is because I knew about the comic book story starring the last Autobot, and I realized, if Transformers fans and collectors out there don't know who the last Autobot is and they haven't read the comic book stories featuring Autonomous Maximus, then they're probably not going to get the reference, and they're going to just say, oh, okay, the Ark just looked into a reality where the Ark was a robot.
Well, the cool thing
Yeah.
is that it's also IDW is the comic book company that puts out the Transformer books, and they work hand in hand also with Hasbro.
Mm.
Well, they finally got the rights to release in graphic novel form the entire Marvel run.
Cool.
So we've got that coming out as graphic novels
Nice.
the next year. So right there, I was like, oh oh man, this is a nod to the old men like I am that read the Marvel comics, and also read some of the UK comics of Transformers. And so yeah, I loved it. I loved seeing it. It was a nice little nod. There was a lot of Easter eggs in this series. A lot of Easter eggs. Yeah.
And I'm going to say this. I love the attitude Soundwave gave to Megatron, and I laughed my ceiling. Well, actually, this is 18 years or older. I forgot to mention that. But I like it when Soundwave hears something and it's Dinobot in Raptor mode coming straight for them. I like that whenever Soundwave turns around as if he's having a hallucination, and Megatron says, "Don't give in to the hallucinations. Not now." And then Soundwave just says, "I hear something." And then Megatron says, "I don't hear anything." And then I love that Soundwave gives him attitude and says, "You wouldn't." He just gave his Soundwave, Megatron's most trusted character, most trusted Decepticon, just gave him attitude.
Yes. But the one thing that I noticed in this, and I heard you saying this earlier, Ghost, is this is the only time that we have a Starscream, other than in which cartoon was it that
Armada? Yes.
Where Starscream kind of goes and says, "Oh, wait a second, for the betterment." He's terrified, and what things I was like seeing is that you were seeing he still hears Unicron's thoughts.
Yeah, because Unicron has kind of like what he has on Galvatron and Nemesis Prime. He has like a connection to them. Yeah, so does Starscream, because whenever he read the golden disc.
Yes.
And I'm going to say this. I love how terrified he was to the point he went to Bumblebee and Bumblebee just broke it right in front of him. And I'm going to say this. My most favorite part in this series, I was
pissed about that.
I'm not, because
I was just going to say that actually pissed me off.
I know that was the biggest WTF moment for me, was when Bumblebee smashed the golden disc in two.
And
then I realized, sorry to interrupt,
go ahead.
But I realized one of the reasons that Bumblebee smashed the disc was, like Autocorrect Primer said, it was an Easter egg to the Beast Wars series where Dinobot broke both of the golden discs in two, and all that remained was one pizza slice shaped section that Beast Wars Megatron used to reveal to the Predacons Decepticon Megatron's message about possibly changing history. And so I think that's the main reason he's in the real life reason why Bumblebee destroyed the golden disc, was so that just like in the Beast Wars cartoon, it was destroyed.
Yeah, and I watched some other reviewers talk about. I actually like the theories on why he destroyed the disc, because, like he says, they don't need to know how the future plays out. They will face the future together head on, and I like that. And I like when the Nemesis guns, and this, like I said, this was my most favorite part right here. Starscream finally stands up to Megatron to try to get him to understand. So after the Nemesis weapons are disabled, and I like that Megatron says, "I am the weapon," and he just turns into tank mode and starts trying to destroy the shields of the Ark. And Starscream just shows up, tries to get him to understand, and the shock Megatron had on his face when he realizes he's going to be a slave in the future by Unicron, whenever he finally finds out that Galvatron is him, and also Starscream or Megatron saying that Starscream can never do anything right and that he's useless. I love that Starscream smiles at him and says, "I can fly," kicks him in the chest, transforms, and just rams him off the Nemesis. I love that.
I agree. I love that part. That was like finally Starscream has the one up on Megatron. But the problem that I have with the disc, and I agree with TF Fangeek 100%, it was a nod to Beast Wars fans, because Nikki was like, "Hey, that's what Dinobot did." It's like, that's, but she said, but it was out of character for Bumblebee to do that. As a strategic him being a strategic, he's taken the place that Ultra Magnus was supposed to have. He's now got this. He has a tool to understand how to fix the war and stop it. And he breaks it out of saying we're going to face the future together. I understand where the nod was coming from, and I commend the creators for doing that. But it was poorly executed.
Oh man,
I agree.
Yeah.
And personally, I think it would have been a better nod to the Beast Wars series if Dinobot had broken the golden disc. I mean, I know some fans would probably complain that, it's a repeat of history. Dinobot's breaking the golden disc again, but like Autocorrect Primer just said, that was out of character for Bumblebee to do that, but it was perfectly in character for Dinobot to do something like that, because what Dinobot's all about is fighting with honor, and if you're gonna fight using predestined knowledge from the future, there's no honor in that. And so I think it would have been a lot more entertaining if Dinobot had broken the golden disc again, just like in the Beast Wars series.
100% agree with you on that, TFN Geek. 100%.
Yeah. But one thing because the one sentence that Starscream spoke that really got me and hit me in the nostalgia feels for the Armada version of Starscream. It was when Starscream shouted at Megatron, "We have to stop the fighting. You have to end it, Megatron." And when Megatron ignores him, because in that moment you finally realize that Unicron is the one thing in the universe that's scary enough to take the fight out of Starscream. I mean, I know Black Arachnia, because I know Black Arachnia calls him a coward, and that she tells him, "I heard about you from history. You're the coward who always ran away because you always let someone else try to take out Megatron for you." But despite that description from Black Arachnia, if you actually watch closely, after Starscream started to hear Unicron's message, he could have run away like the coward he was and tried to find some corner of the universe where he could just get away from it all, but he didn't. He stayed behind to try and get Megatron to end the battle, because he realized Unicron's threat was greater than him. Because go ahead.
I was just going to say, and everything you're saying is absolutely right, because that was for Nikki. Nikki sat there and said when Starscream was scared enough to put down his ego, and this is how she was put down his ego to try to actually bring together the better good, that there's a greater evil than they are against each other. That to me is like the best Starscream we have gotten since Armada.
Exactly.
I'm going to say this, and I love that Starscream. I'm going to say this, and you guys can have your own opinions, but Starscream is the key to everything in this series, and here's what I mean. On the final battle, when Megatron is fighting alongside Galvatron and Nemesis Prime, and I'm going to say this, I thought for sure Galvatron was going to shoot Starscream there in this moment, but whenever and I also love the lines Megatron gave out, but Starscream is convincing Megatron to fight alongside us, talking Armada Starscream style, and then you think he's not going to do it, and Galvatron just aims his cannon right at Galvatron, saying, "I make my own destiny." And then Galvatron just says, "You know what's going to happen to you in the future." And he says, "Yes, but I'd rather have that than what I'm doing now," or something like that. He is willing to accept.
Pretty much the alternative.
I love this Siege Megatron. I don't care what anyone says. I'm just saying, I love that. Even though Galvatron does not accept what he is, Siege Megatron, he accepts what's going to happen in the future. He's willing to take his chances.
Now,
I love it.
Oh yeah. I mean, for me, you and Deluxe and my brother, y'all finally have a Starscream that I can actually look at and respect. And I do respect you, Lord Ghostmaster Starscream.
It's all good. It's all good. I know. Go ahead.
But this was the first cartoon, and I'll be honest, since Armada, that I actually like Megatron. Megatron is one of the characters I have never been attached to. I don't particularly care for. A lot of y'all all know that it wasn't until this year that I actually purchased and got my very first Megatron, which that came from Siege, because I have no. And other than Titans, Nikki was like, she just corrected me. She says, "No, you got the Titans,
Titans
Megatron,
Return, Galvatron. Oh,
Megatron, the Megatron, which was also like the same thing as a Blitzwing.
Yeah, that figure.
oh yeah,
The triple changer.
yeah.
The triple changer, yeah. And the only reason why I got that is because I found it for $5. But Megatron has not ever been my. I don't look at Megatron and say, okay, you're very dynamic. You're a character that I feel as if I should fear. Starscream, I've always looked at it and been like, if that guy was in my group, I would always keep my eye on him, because
You are.
Yeah, and because I've always sat there and saw Starscream as the bigger threat. When I saw Starscream scared, I mean, let's be honest. This is the first time we ever really seen Starscream absolutely scared, other than in the 86 movie when he sits there and says Megatron, and he blasts him away with the coronation.
I'm going to say this. You can tell you never seen him so scared. Whenever he went to talk to Boeing, he's like, he cannot get a word out. He's traumatized.
Yeah.
He ain't just scared. He is traumatized on what he.
PTSD.
That's another one of Starscream's sentences that got to me, was when Black Arachnia asked him, what's going on? And then Starscream responds, he knows that I'm not powerful enough to be of any threat to him. And that is what hit me in the chest. It's like, wow, Starscream's accepted that Unicron is more powerful than him, and the only thing he can do with that knowledge is be fearful of the reality that there's nothing he can do on his own against Unicron. He's a insect, basically.
And
he has no courage at all.
Yeah,
with that revelation of how powerful and sinister Unicron is. And
my brother-in-law, he's a big Starscream fan. I'm sorry, Scos. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's okay. I was going to quickly say, and I love that when when Boeing says, what's wrong with him? Black Arachnia says, I don't know. He's crazy. And he says, I'm not crazy. And no one's willing to listen to him. Go ahead, Otto.
Yes. Oh, well, my brother-in-law is a big Starscream fan. He's like deluxe. He has every Starscream that's ever been made. He loves it. But the one thing he's always said is that, Starscream's always that dog that when the car goes by, that dog that barks and follows that car and chases after it. If that dog actually caught that car,
what would he do with it?
He wouldn't know what to do with it. And that's how he's always viewed Starscream, is that if Starscream would be a very poor leader, but it would just inflate his ego. We see him in Coronation. We see him with everything that he wants, everything that he's dreamed of, that he's going to literally receive a crown to be, ordained as the greatest leader of the Decepticons. To go from that illusion, which is exactly what it was, to have reality hit him in the face that Unicron is essentially a god, and he has been the presence, even though he's the devil himself, he's still a little g god, so to speak, to the Transformers, and realizes as a scientist, I have been manipulated. And I can't out-manipulate. I can't out-maneuver. I can't out-think. I can't out-talk. I can't be too deceitful to Unicron. He's too much of a threat. He knows everything. And that was for me, that knocked it out of the park, because I saw Starscream in a whole nother light that I don't think anyone else has done. And I have to say, to the Red Roosters guys that did this, you knocked it out of the park. I really loved how you ended this thing with Kingdom. I can't wait to see what's going to come next, honestly.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I like that Starscream knew what was waiting for him, and he tried convincing them not to go through the space bridges, but then they just put him in a stasis, put put him in with the others in stasis lock. But I still like that. But yeah, he's definitely Starscream is definitely going through some stuff. They're all making him out to be crazy. Like he should be in a jumpsuit or something like that, and put in a psycho house.
He should be in what I call the long sleeve white jacket that when they take the sleeves up for you, you're hugging yourself all day long.
That's the thing with and that's the thing with straight jackets. They're designed to straighten you out.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. When Hound and Black Arachnia were dragging him, the way he was moving, as if he was going psycho, but in reality, he's not.
No. And that's the thing. You never see Starscream scared, and I think that's what made it so epic to watch. Is seeing Starscream experience genuine fear. I mean, the closest thing to fear we got with Starscream was the series where his life was threatened, like in Transformers Prime when he was threatened with destruction from Predaking, or most recently in Cyberverse when Megatron beats the metal out of him halfway through season 2, like when they're on the moon.
Yes.
And he blasts Starscream at point blank range, and but yeah, to see Starscream scared of something, that was just something you don't see that often.
This Starscream is unique, to be honest with you.
He really is. He really is. He's the first Starscream to ever sit there and say, "Let's put our differences aside."
Exactly.
Armada did too.
Yeah. The Armada version stories.
Yeah. But this is a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the Armada. This is the Armada recognized Armada recognized the greater good at the end of the day, but it wasn't surely out of fear. This one realizes, because even the Armada, even though he did the right thing, he still had a scheme up his sleeve. He still, was scheming in some way for the benefit of himself. This time we see a Starscream that it's not scheming. He's not trying to find the betterment of himself. He's trying to find the betterment of the group.
Yeah, it's that, and that's one thing that I enjoyed seeing. Starscream no longer wants power because he's seen Unicron's power, and now he doesn't want power anymore. He just wants to survive, and I think that's what happened to Starscream, with that he went into survival mode after he heard Unicron's voice, and he heard Unicron talking to him.
And he says he can hear the
Nikki
voices.
Just said she wanted to share this.
Go ahead.
No, Nikki just wanted to share this. She said this is the first Starscream that we see that recognizes that he can be defeated. That there is something that he can't overcome through his ego, through sheer force, or through scheming. And I was like, oh wow. I was like, you want to tell him that? She says, you can just relate to what I just said, but that's what we get with this Starscream. I mean, he may have walked away with Megatron at the very end, but he recognizes that the one thing that Optimus said, "Till all are one," he actually is the first Autobot or Decepticon to try to actually enact that. If you think about it,
to recognize Optimus Prime's message of that factions don't, when it comes down to facing Unicron, factions no longer matter. It's all the Transformers versus Unicron. In danger.
Yeah. And also, if they do go the Armada route, the factions, them fighting, only makes Unicron stronger and stronger.
Yeah. And that's because that was one of the controversial things in Transformers Armada, was that Unicron came back to life because he was literally feeding on the actual anger of all the Transformers.
Yes, he was. And if you look at that he actually there was something that I thought was interesting too, is that you saw that there was something different with Megatron's blood, that his, to be able to run the disc, his Energon, really made me look at it and say, wait a second, are we on the verge of seeing Dark Energon being introduced, with this? I'm wondering, there's always been the speculation that when Beast Machines happen and Megatron becomes the big head, there's always been a speculation, is this just the next stage in Megatron's evolution to become Unicron? Do you think that's a possibility that we're seeing, or is that just completely off the grid?
No. That makes sense to me. It's like Megatron falling into the next level of evil, the next level of how sinister he can get.
And oh my gosh, I think Megatron is turning into a psycho, especially like when he was going through the illusions. I love that when Megatron got a hold of Starscream's cloaking device and they didn't know what they were being attacked, who was attacking them. Then Starscream got thrown and Megatron just took off running. Black Arachnia doesn't know what's going on, and I like that Starscream says, "He's mad." He's definitely going through some psycho.
Yeah. But the scene that got me was when Dinobot confronts both of the Megatrons and he tells Beast Wars Megatron, "You named yourself after him because you idolized him. Well, look at him now." And I forgot what Dinobot says next, but he basically alluded to the fact that Megatron's sanity was slipping away because the matrix of leadership was corrupting his mind as it was rejecting his sinister heart.
Rejected him.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Dinobot,
he was also saying that you can't save him. He's already on this path to become Galvatron. You can't save him.
And I'm going to say this. Even though it's only mentioned once, I love that when Dinobot says, "I have my honor," and then the first and only time he uses it is his laser beam eyes.
Mm-hmm.
At the right moment.
I would have loved him to see that, use that gimmick more than once. I was kind of hoping they do a different origin story for Dinobot where he didn't start off as a Predacon. I honestly was hoping that when he was talking with Airazor, they were going to do some plot twist where Dinobot had been a Maximal all along and that he just went undercover, as a double agent to try and get close enough to Beast Wars Megatron to help the other Maximals gain the upper hand. I was kind of hoping they do a plot twist like that, and I was kind of disappointed to see that they didn't do a new origin story for Dinobot like that.
I'm going to say this. When he was dying...
that would have...
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think that like what TF Hingy was saying, I wanted to see the same thing. I wanted to see that, hey, we got this flashback where he was already willing to betray Megatron with Black Arachnid so that he could get the disc and give it back to them. I was hoping he was going to end up being a double agent, and he didn't. But he still became what he's always been, about honor. And I did enjoy seeing his death, but I did enjoy how his death came about. That he was the turning of the table of everything.
Mm-hmm. And I do love that rat trap. Only says it one time. I was hoping they would say it. He says, "What's Chopper Face doing here?" And then when Primal comes to, or he says, "Primal, would you have accepted me?" And then Primal just grabs this one and only hand and says, "Yes, but you would have made a terrible Maximal." And then Dinobot starts laughing. He kind of made a little bit of a terrible Maximal in the Beast Wars, but still became a great Maximal in the end.
Well, it's in the Beast Wars series, he only became a Maximal just to survive and not be out there on his own.
Yeah, but
yeah.
And I'm curious. How did you guys?
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. I like the fact that he was. And like TFN, you took the words right out of my mouth. But I did like the fact that we saw that he was willing to do what it took. He was willing to try and get things back on track, try and get people to do the right thing. And he had a very much, like you said, it was an honorable death. I hate that we saw him that way, but I also think.
Oh, go ahead.
We got, well, I like the fact we got to see his ghost. We got to see a spark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I like that. What was it? He was begging like to be forgiven and all that. Like when he had the Matrix, he wanted redemption because he felt bad for all that he's been doing, and because I found that really got me right there. And then when Optimus Prime found him, he says, "This was all I could save." And and also you could tell he does question like what he's doing half the time. Like he only zaps Airazor one time, and then he's just sitting there thinking about like, yeah, he did not like what he was doing then. But man, I felt bad the way he died, and T-Rex Megatron just came and tore him up. But he was caught off guard.
Yeah, it was a nice thing to see the fight between them. Now, how did you feel about Beast Wars Megatron? I feel like he was too much of a follower. Like he was immediately willing to, he was idolizing Megatron, and I get the fact that he idolized him because that's why he took on his name. But at the same time, I felt like he kind of wimped out, so to speak, of what we saw from Beast Wars and how he was willing to blow the head off of Optimus Prime in Beast Wars. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't see that in the Kingdom. I didn't see that Megatron, and that for me did bother me. What about
To be honest, I was fine with it. I love this new version of T-Rex Megatron. I did have a little bit about the voice at first, but I actually enjoyed this Megatron, to be honest with you. And the history and also that they gave him, like how he came to be. And that the Maximals and the Predacons are the last bit of Cybertronians that rose from the ashes of their dead world. But yeah, I enjoyed this version of Megatron. Go ahead.
And they didn't have to use they didn't have to go and find Energon to live. They used actually the organic part of themselves to create their energy. And I thought that was a very interesting thing that we really didn't see, in Beast Wars. They transformed into the animals due to the fact that the Energon on the Earth was too great for their robotic forms. I did see it was interesting. It makes me want to wonder, are they alluding to Shockwave creating the Maximals and the Predacons? Because in the idea of a comic book, he's the one that creates the Beast Wars characters. So, and we didn't see Shockwave.
He
as
did.
one of the dead members.
Yeah. Well, I'm for my opinion on it, and before this live stream video, I went and watched H&E Games. Shout out to him. He did a video sharing his thoughts on the Kingdom series, and one thing he pointed out is that until this series, the Beast Wars cartoon and Beast Machines, those were the only cartoon series in which we actually heard Beast Wars Megatron talk. And so that's one of the things that H&E Games said in his video. He felt that a lot of Transformers fans were going to be blinded by the nostalgia for David Key's voice for Megatron, because we haven't gotten anyone else voicing Beast Wars Megatron until the Kingdom series. But yeah, I chalked up Megatron's voice being different and his willingness to act as a Megatron fanboy. I wrote it up as a predestinational time paradox. The moment everything changed, one thing about history that changed permanently was Beast Wars Megatron's attitude. He wasn't as homicidal as he was in the Beast Wars cartoon. And I think the main reason for that was because Beast Wars Megatron, he kind of took a step back because he was under the impression all the time that Decepticon Megatron had loads more fighting capabilities than he did. I don't know if that makes sense to any of you guys.
Yeah, I got it.
I does, and I can see that and agree to that. But at the same time, he was more the sound leader. I mean, if you really think about it, he was actually the only one that was keeping Megatron on task throughout the whole thing.
I'm going to say this. Oh, go ahead. I just want to.
That's what I was going to say is that, that's why whenever, Optimus Prime looked at him and says, you can't save him. He's already on that course. He's already too far gone. You're not going to be able to save him.
Dynamite.
From becoming Galvatron.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this. I love the attitude this T-Rex Megatron says and how concerned he was for. I'm gonna call him G1 Megatron. I like whenever after he takes care of Dinobot and he's like pretty much Dinobot's already dying. I like that he looks at him and is like, Megatron, let me help you. I like that. I just started laughing at that. He's really concerned for Megatron.
Yeah.
And he's really protective of Megatron, and I like that. And also, this is funny to me also, and I wanted to bring this up real quick. After I'm going to call T-Rex Megatron has fun with Airazor by torturing her. Megatron requests his presence, and then when T-Rex Megatron walks in, G1 Megatron says, Megatron, that name, you need to change it. And he's like, I wear it with honor. My honor. Change it. And then I just thought it was funny because Siege, I'm going to call him Siege Megatron actually. Siege Megatron he's like, you're unworthy to carry my name. You're not fit to be a Megatron.
I think it's more of the arrogance because when you really look and see at the end of the day, Megatron does not want his name to be passed on like Prime's name is, because Optimus Prime was Orion Pax. He gets the Matrix and he becomes Optimus Prime, and there's many Primes before him. I think it was also in the lines of saying, I don't want to be your legacy. This is not what my legacy is my name. I don't want my name to be a legacy, like the legacy of the Primes, that anyone that bears the Matrix becomes a Prime. And I looked at it from that standpoint as saying, Megatron wants to be recognized for his own merit, but at the same time, he doesn't want someone else to swoop in and take up his title.
And to expand on what you just said, Autocorrect Primer, I think it's that G1 Megatron. He didn't want to become a part of history. He wanted to
be a legend.
And that he didn't want anyone else to try and steal his thunder from him, so to speak.
And that's the Gladiator in him. That was the thing that I was like, okay, that's the Gladiator. He wants to be the only and the best of the best.
I love that Dinobot was. Oh, I was gonna say I love that Dinobot was challenging the Gladiator side of him.
I do too. I thought that was a nice little take, and I also like the fact that it said, you started out as a slave and that you're going to end as a slave. That is the fitting into your legacy. And I was like, that's got to be hard for, I think
that was,
yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead to you, Frank.
Yeah, I was just going to say that was a slap in the face for G1 Megatron to hear that, especially from Starscream of all Transformers. I think that made him snap.
I agree. I think that was the final straw on the camel's back that made it finally break, was to hear that from Starscream. I did like the fact that we see in this universe at this point, it's like no one has ever put together. It's like Clark Kent is Superman. The only reason why you don't know he's Superman is because he's got glasses. that no one put together that Galvatron and Megatron are the same person till this. I was like, I like that a lot. I like that a whole bunch.
Mm-hmm. The part that got me, to be honest, the part that really got me was when, and Galvatron, was it, I can't remember if it was Galvatron or who was it, told Optimus Prime about Unicron, and Optimus Prime defiantly responds, Unicron is just a myth. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, no wonder none of the Transformers have any idea that Unicron's the mastermind behind all the time traveling, Cybertron's destruction, and all of the warfare that they've been waging against each other, because they don't know that he's real.
And it lets you know that the real masters were never the Quintessons.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was interesting. The really now here's the question too that me and Nikki were talking about. Okay, so he's the orchestrator of all this. What is Unicron's actual purpose? If he's orchestrating all this chaos, all these wars, and it's been happening for millennia, what does he get at the very end? I think that he not only wants a dead universe, and that's where he can hide out at. I think he wants to have that one moment, that one universe, that he is in absolute control of everyone. That's why he reformats Nemesis Prime. That's why he's going to reformat Megatron to Galvatron, is the fact that he is wanting to be that much control. Do you think we'll actually get to see Primus show up?
I hope we do, because if Primus does show up, I'm thinking they're going to go the route that they did with the Transformers Cybertron series back in 2005, where it's revealed that Planet Cybertron is Primus's alternate mode.
I was thinking the same thing, because I was thinking that we're with this, if the series carrying over and you're seeing what they did with Teletron 1, and that I was feeling that was a foreshadowing of why they needed to get the Allspark back to Cybertron.
Mm-hmm.
Now that for me, and I'm going to have to go after this because I got an early morning, but I think, would it not be dynamic that the next stage would be Unicron shows up and Primus shows up, and they're the ones that are battling?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I'm curious now about that.
Yeah, because I thought I saw, and I thought I read years ago that, a few years ago, that in one of the Transformers comic book stories, to answer Autocorrect Primus' question of what does Unicron get out of everything, I thought I saw a video once, and I could have made this up, so don't quote me on what I'm about to say, but I thought that in one of the few comic books that explored Unicron and Primus's origins, that after they were created, they were like free to explore the universe around them, and Primus and Unicron, when they met up with each other, they came to different conclusions about life and death, that Primus believed life should exist everywhere, and that Unicron came to the opposite conclusion, and that he believed that they deserve to be the only living beings in the universe. And ever since they came to that opposite conclusion, Unicron's been trying to prove that he deserves to be the only source of life in existence. And I think that's what he gets out of bringing about the extinction of the Transformers race, is proving Primus incorrect, like that life should exist everywhere.
Yeah, I think you might be on something, because I remember something like that vaguely, and I don't know if it was Dreamwave that did that, or DreamWorks. I can't remember the name. That was done by Pat Lee. I think that what would be also, I think that's where it comes from, that all sentinel beings deserve life. I think that's what came from Primus. And I think Unicron was like, only life that is deserved to keep going is us. We are the end all be all. We are the greatest. There's not going to be anything better than us. And the rest of the universe can just die off. But guys, I love this
Mhm.
talk. I hate to have to jump and run, but enjoy this so much. Good to see you. Go see Ruben, TFN Geek, and everyone that's out there. Thank y'all so much. Thank you for having me. Y'all have a great night, guys.
Good night, Autocrat Primer. Great to
Nope.
hear from you.
All right, man.
Yeah, like I said,
Um,
I can't remember where I heard that, but I heard it somewhere several years ago, and that's what Unicron gets out of bringing about the extinction of the Transformers, is proving that he was correct and that Primus was wrong, that life doesn't deserve to exist in the universe except for his own.
and he wants to be in full control.
Exactly.
And I'm curious, what do you think? And I'm gonna start with the Beasts. What do you think about the voice acting for each of the Beast characters?
To be honest, I enjoyed Rhinox and Optimus Primal's voices, and also Airazor and Black Arachnia. I enjoyed their voices more than I did Cheetor, Rat Trap, Megatron, and Tigertron.
Yeah, and I have been hearing people saying, and I want to have a disagreement on it, but I can't help but agree at the same time that Tigertron and Dinobot, their character personalities should be switched because of the attitudes and all that.
Yeah, Tigertron was more about taking action and I forgot how the metaphor goes, like shoot now, ask later.
Yeah.
Later, and like Dinobot was more the reserved one, like let's proceed with caution first before we actually do anything. It's like Tigertron had more of a take charge attitude, and Dinobot had let's analyze first attitude. And in the Beast Wars cartoon, they were the opposite.
Yeah. And I definitely enjoyed Rhinox's voice, especially every time. And also Wheeljack, I found him to be a little less smart, and Rhinox is more smarter. Like when Bumblebee gets I'll say this, the notification that Prime is on the way with the Allspark and we need to get off this planet like ASAP, and then Wheeljack says, say no more, then activates the engines, and they're all like, what are you doing? You'll kill us all. And, and it's at that point I'm like, Wheeljack, you're not made for engineering. You're just made to be an inventor.
Yeah, but that's actually something I took away the first time I watched the Beast Wars cartoon series, was that Rhinox was actually, I think he was, I've always viewed Rhinox as a mashup of at least 3 of the Transformers G1 characters, Perceptor, Ratchet, and Wheeljack. Like Rhinox, he's a medical specialist, he's a mechanical specialist, but then he's also a scientist, having the intelligence to figure out stuff. And so I think that's what they were trying to go for with how they portrayed Rhinox here in the Kingdom series. And I don't know if you guys noticed this, but watching the Kingdom series, especially the way Rhinox's chest was shaped, he looked more like the Generations Rhinox figure than the Kingdom figure.
Yeah, that's another reason why I'm hunting that figure down, and I do have one on my list to get.
Yeah, just so you know, when you get the Generations Rhinox figure, he is a nightmare to get to stand up in his robot mode.
Yeah,
because he has very loose joints in his hips, where his hips meet his pelvis, and also with the way his feet are shaped. It's very difficult to have Rhinox. Like on my shelf, I have the reason my copy of Rhinox is standing up is because I have something propping him up and keeping him from falling over.
Yeah.
So yeah, just know that that's one of the that's one of the greatest flaws with the Generations Rhinox figure, is his inability to stand up on his own.
Guys, I have the GTFO right now. I'm sorry.
All right, man.
No problem, Ruben.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Starscream.
That's all good, man.
Yeah, I swear to God. I'm sorry, guys. I better GTFO.
No problem. Right,
later.
Take care.
Later, man. Take care, man.
Yeah.
And I definitely enjoyed. I'm curious. How do you feel about T-Rex Megatron's voice? If we brought that. Go ahead.
Yeah, like I said, I like that movies and TV shows with time travel. I chalked up Megatron's voice sounding the way it did to like a time paradox, result of history being permanently changed. Like that's why it was lighter pitched than it was in the Beast Wars series. But here's the thing: the way the story was played out and the way things rapidly moved in the Predacons and the Maximals' future, I think they were trying to hint that Beast Wars Megatron, he's much younger in the Kingdom series than he is in the original Beast Wars cartoon. If that makes sense.
Yeah, he definitely sounds Yeah, he does sound like a younger version of T-Rex Megatron, to be honest.
Yeah.
And what was it? Yeah, I like I said, I like how concerned he always is for a C or G1 Megatron, and I like when all the Maximals board the Nemesis, and Primal is fighting T-Rex Megatron, and Primal's just saying he is using you. After you become a problem, he will destroy you. Mm-hmm. And then T-Rex Megatron is just denying it, saying, what do you mean that old me will become a problem?
Exactly.
But yeah, I like how concerned he always was. Like I said, when Dinobot is just damaged and he's dying, he in T-Rex mode, he just runs towards Megatron and says, "Megatron, let me help you."
That's
just funny.
The thing. Yeah, that's the thing. I think they were trying to they were trying to show just how much Beast Wars Megatron idolized G1 Megatron by having him act like a fanboy. Yeah. I think that's the angle they were going for.
Megatron, I'm your biggest fan. Yes.
You're too kind. Security. Did you get where that reference was from that I just blurted out?
What was that? Where's that from, man?
SpongeBob.
Oh. But yeah, I'm gonna say this. I think they did turn Dinobot into a Kenny, but I feel bad that I like how he went out. He died doing the right thing, but I legit had tears coming down my face whenever I saw him die, especially when Primal or Optimus Prime and Optimus Prime and Primal were getting the Allspark, and then Dinobot's spark comes into the palm of his hand. He says, "Go on, maximize." That still got me right there.
Oh yeah, I think it was the moment when Dinobot criticized Starscream's fantasy of wanting to crown himself king.
There is no room for kings.
But I was just gonna say that was the moment when I realized, they're gonna kill off Dinobot when Starscream grabs Dinobot and he dangles him over the cliff and throws him off. I knew when Dinobot survived that, I was like, okay, Dinobot just survived that to die a worse death in just a couple of moments from now. That was the moment when Starscream almost killed him that I realized Dinobot wasn't going to survive.
They definitely referenced Starscream's ghost in the cloaking tech, because when he's talking to Black Arachnia, you get to see him invisible, and I was like, that's a reference to his ghost. And also they do reference it later when Dinobot's saying, "This ship is a ghost. This crew is a ghost. Starscream's a ghost." So I definitely like that. And
I think that's one thing I liked, was that out of all the characters, Dinobot was the one who was afraid about reality changing because of history changing, and that with the changes done to the past, were the Maximals and Predacons going to be erased from existence? Because that's what happened to Galvatron in the G1 Marvel comic book when he time traveled to the past to change history to prevent Unicron from becoming all powerful. Powerful was that after a time when he changed history, Galvatron undid the moment when Megatron upgraded into him, and so he was actually erased from history, and so the space-time continuum wanted to erase him in order to correct itself and not have any anomalies tear it apart. And Galvatron tried to run away from the space-time continuum, taking him out of existence, but it didn't work. And when reality finally caught up to him, he was erased in a horrific moment. Because I've seen that in the comic panel showing the moment when the space-time continuum erased Galvatron, and it's pretty gruesome because his face peels off and there's like a metal skull behind his face, almost like a purple version of Bludgeon. And it's just it's really graphic for a comic book that could have been bought by someone under the age of 10 years old.
Yeah, there was something I was going to say. I can't remember, but it'll come back to me in a minute. But I felt bad when Dinobot bit the dust, but I was like, is he going to use his laser beam eyes? And I was happy that he did that, but and I thought when he was damaged, in my mind, I was like, no, there's no way they're going to kill him off. They have a CR chamber. And when and I guess he was, like Rhinox said in Code of Hero, he's too far gone.
I knew when the characters were gathering around him that, because, they gathered around Dinobot when he was dying in the Beast Wars cartoon. I knew that he was gonna bit the dust. That he wasn't gonna be one of the survivors at the end of the day.
Yeah, and now I remember what I was gonna say. I like when the Autobots are going to save, or Autobots and Maximals are going to save Airazor, and they're all hiding up on the mountain, and while Rat Trap and Mirage go in. I think it's funny when the Decepticons and the Predacons know where they are, and they all have them at gunpoint, and T-Rex Megatron says, fire. Then you cut away. Then later on, we cut back, and Barricade says, we don't take orders from Predacons. And then and then he transforms into T-Rex mode, grabs the Seeker. Grabs the Seeker and throws him across, and you see all the bits fly off, and Barricade's like, fire. He's like, no, I don't want to deal with that. Let's open fire.
Yeah, and about what you said, I can't remember if it was you or what you said earlier about him not really acting like Beast Wars Megatron. That was the one moment when he acted like Beast Wars Megatron.
Yeah, he didn't want to. He didn't want to tolerate any of that. He like, you gonna disrespect me? Oh no, I'm gonna make an example out of one of you. And that's what he did. He made an example out of the Seeker.
Exactly. And that's one thing that cracked me up, was that the Seekers ended up being the cannon fodder of the Decepticons. Just like Scorponok was the cannon fodder of the Predacons.
Too many Scorponok's, and poor Thundercracker getting his arm sliced, his whole wing and arm sliced off and Tetra. And falls into the lava.
Exactly. But
I'm going to say this. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that I think there's one screenshot. I think there's up to 8 copies of Beast Wars Scorponok gathered around each other.
He's the new reflector drone that they've been using.
The new Viacon from Transformers Prime.
And I also like that Astro Train, finally gets the spotlight in this. He finally gets some speaking roles and a lot more screen time.
Oh yeah, even if he did end up getting tricked by Wheeljack into putting himself in jail.
Or Mirage, or
Mirage. I'm sorry, it was Mirage. Yeah, got them mixed up.
Yeah, it's all good. But yeah, and I can't. Yeah, Mirage disguises himself as Astro Train and says to Scorponok says, no, the rat is mine. You open the cell and get in there. Oh, fine. You're the boss. And yeah, And also, like I said, I do like the Beast Wars reference that Black Arachnia and Starscream do have a relationship. I definitely like that. And
Yeah.
oh, and also this was funny when after the Maximals and the Predacon, or the Maximals and the Autobots agree to split into two teams. I like that Primal says, Maximals, maximize, and then they all start running off. And then Hound
And
says,
Hound.
does that mean
transform?
Yeah.
Exactly. I was just thinking that. Yeah.
That's funny. He's like, oh, what does that mean? And then they all start running off.
Does that mean Does that mean we transform?
Yeah. Oh, and Air Razor, after they're all hallucinating, Primal, other red one, referring to Sideswipe.
No, he said. No, I think he was referring. I think she was referring to Optimus Prime.
Oh yeah, probably. Oh yeah, yeah. There are two red ones though, so that's what got me. I was like, oh okay.
Yeah, no, I thought she was referring to Optimus Prime. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that again.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to also. And
yeah,
and I do like, since we in the Beast Wars, and I have watched reviews that Beast Wars or Air Razor and Dinobot never shared screen time together, and it was Air Razor that convinced Dinobot to change his ways.
Mm.
And I like that. Oh, and also a reference to Beast Wars that Tigertron does have a relationship with Air Razor, and I love when they're reunited.
Yeah,
they hug, and he's definitely really protective.
Yeah. What creeped me out was when Air Razor saved Black Arachnia, and she's like, "You're my hero."
Yeah, and she gives him a kiss, and she's like, "What'd you just do to me?"
I know.
And I'm curious, what's going to become of the wreckage of the Nemesis? Is it just going to melt? Like, they took all the Maximals, or not Maximals, the Autobots took the Maximals with them, and also for the prisoners, all the Decepticons and Predacons, and put them in a stasis
holding
chamber.
Cell. Exactly.
Yeah, holding cell. And then left the Nemesis. Like, what's become of the Nemesis? But yeah, I definitely liked the arc in this. It was awesome. And
yeah.
It just punches a hole through the belly of the Nemesis.
I liked when Teletran 1 grabbed the Nemesis by the nose and held it there from moving.
Yeah, and he's definitely pretty slow because he's like doing it like this and goes boom. Yeah, doing it all in slow motion. And
yeah, I think what they were trying to do is like make it that it's the first time that Teletran 1 has actually had arms and legs. You know, kind of like when we're first learning how to walk and move around. I think that's what they were trying to go with, the rigid movement of the Ark's robot mode. Yeah.
Oh, and also I'm going to say this. I like, and I'm going to bring up two things, especially when the Maximals had their first encounter with the Autobots. But I think it's funny when the Maximals board the Nemesis. Megatron says, "Get these animals off my ship with pleasure, Lord Megatron." And that's funny. He calls him T-Rex. Megatron calls him Lord Megatron. And also, Hound and versus Rhinox, both in robot and car mode.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's funny how Wheeljack has his first encounter with
Rat Trap.
Yeah, and he falls on his head. He's like, it's a rat.
I was hoping that Rat Trap was going to say his catchphrase at least once.
Oh,
in the cartoon.
Same as Primal. I was waiting for them to say, "We're all gonna
die."
Well,
that's just Prime.
Yeah, I was waiting for that. I was.
I know, Rat Trap's. Yeah, we're all gonna die. And I was like, waiting to see everyone, both the Maximals and the Autobots, turn to him and say, "Shut up, Rat Trap."
I wish they did that. And also, Rhinox. Here's what this could have been a good way for them to put this in there. After Wheeljack fires the engines, they all look at Wheeljack, and Rhinox is like, "Oh no." That's the one line I need. That's the one line I wanted to hear Rhinox say. But
exactly.
it was,
that would have been funny.
Especially, I remember this one part in the Beast Wars series when Prime or Optimus Primal is in the he has to create like a molecule or whatever it is, a phaser or something like that to get Primal out of the alien pod or whatever, and then he's working on it while all the Maximals and Predacons are fighting outside. He's in there all by himself saying, I need to create one of these things. Oh, I need to be a miracle worker. And one shot hits the Axelon, and the whole table or whatever falls over, and you see all the parts to the gun, and he's like, oh no. Man, he's sitting there like, man, I have to put this thing together while getting shaken outside with all the gunfire. But and also, since they mentioned the Axelon, I was hoping we would get to see it. But I know.
I know, but when they kept saying it was damage beyond repair and they weren't actually showing it, I was like, okay, they're going to just say it's damage beyond repair, and there's basically it's so damaged, there's nothing really worth showing.
Yeah, and I had my hopes up for it, and here's why. When Octobotamus was doing his review and someone said, is the Axelon there? He says, yeah, but it's not, you don't get to see much of it. And I was like, oh, dang it. I would have wanted to get to see the Axelon at least one time, or at least the Predacon ship.
Yeah.
But
was the Predacon ship's name ever revealed? I don't think it was.
Maybe you could look it up on the wiki. Maybe it was mentioned. I know the Maximal ship was called the Axelon, but I can't remember the name
the one thing I did enjoy was even though they were shown in almost being in silhouette, I loved in the flashback when they showed Beast Wars Megatron, Dinobot, and Black Arachnia on Cybertron. It showed them without their animal parts on them, like Black Arachnia without her legs, Megatron having two normal arms instead of having his T-Rex head arm.
Oh, I love that, by the way. He's petting his T-Rex head after their Megatron and T-Rex Megatron are both sitting down face to face. He's looking at him and he just pets the dino head. I know.
And that's rubber ducky. But we at least got that. And that was one thing that cracked me up about the Beast Wars cartoon was that Beast Wars Megatron, he pet his T-Rex head like it was a pet that had its own mind when he was in robot mode.
I think also the eyes were moving on that. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch it, but
in the Beast Wars cartoon, that's the thing. In the Beast Wars cartoon, the eyes of Beast Wars Megatron's T-Rex head, whenever he would pet it, the eyes would blink. So they kind of made it a joke, where you question, is the T-Rex head its own? Does it have its own mind whenever Beast Wars Megatron is in his robot mode?
Is it a regular T-Rex? And then it would just keep snapping at him, but Megatron tamed it to every time, like is like that movie with Jim Carrey, Liar Liar, like his arm would go out of control, and is his whole arm going out of control, and he just slap it like, be nice, and then he would just pet it to give it some loving. That'd be funny.
Yeah, and that's the joke that for the original Beast Wars cartoon that they did with Beast Wars Megatron was you actually question, does his T-Rex head have its own brain and its own mind? Yeah, because it does blink when he pets it in the Beast Wars cartoon.
Yeah. And I love when Starscream is talking to Dinobot. He's like, have you heard the legends of Air Commander Starscream? And he's like, no.
I know, he just flat out says no. He's never heard of him.
And then Black Arachnia is the only one. And I'm going to have to freeze frame on each of those shots because when all the screens are circling Starscream, you can see some stuff. I'm going to have to, and also some voices. I'm sure a lot of them, the stuff that Megatron said are G1 references. And also, I think Megatron made a log. As he was floating through space, I guess after Starscream threw him out of Astro Train, I think he was making a log saying, I destroyed Prime. And then before Unicron interrupts him, because I think Unicron interrupts him during his log, and the last thing you hear is the and then it all goes back. So yeah, I think the log was
reformatted. Yeah.
And Starscream's reaction: Galvatron is Megatron, or Megatron is Galvatron. But yeah, and also I love the final battle that not only you get, it's brief. Well, actually, it also in Earthrise, it's brief. You get to see Megatron versus Galvatron, and also you get to see T-Rex Megatron fighting Galvatron.
Oh yeah.
And I was screaming like, no, Galvatron, don't you throw T-Rex Megatron like that, because he's only fighting him in T-Rex mode, and he would just like throw him and all that. And I swear, Rhinox has been beaten up way too much in this series. He's been thrown on his back, and like, I think he's the one that got the beating in this.
Oh yeah, because at one point he got picked up by his horns and tossed aside.
Yeah, and then after Megatron gets stabbed, he just grabs him and throws him, and then Nemesis Prime, I believe, or it was Galvatron, just grabs him and just throws him onto his back.
Yeah,
as if he broke the rhino spine.
I will admit, I did find it funny. I knew during the final battle, when Beast Wars Megatron charged at Galvatron and bit him, I knew Galvatron was going to pick up Beast Wars Megatron and just throw him away. Like like his T-Rex bite didn't even phase him. I knew that was going to happen.
He was biting the cannon, so I guess he was trying to prevent him from using the cannon.
Yeah,
and I love the ending. Like, I'm not talking about with the Unicron part. I'm talking about like you get to see all the Maximals and the Autobots together, and the Predacons and Decepticons together, and they all go their separate ways. And I'm gonna guess it's gonna be like a Cyberverse thing. We're gonna put up a wall. This half is Cybertron's yours. This half is ours.
Yeah. And believe it or not, that actually happens in the Armada cartoon at the beginning. Yeah, because because in the Armada cartoon, when Optimus Prime's explaining the Transformers history to the humans, he tells them that Cybertron was divided into two halves, one half for the Autobots and one half for the Decepticons.
Is this not an Armada reference? They're kind of giving, like, with the Starscream like realizing what's going on, and then I guess kind of referencing that this is your half and our half. I think they're giving a little bit of some Armada references there.
That's what I'm thinking too.
And plus, go ahead.
Yeah, because like I said, next year, 2022, is going to mark the 20th anniversary of Transformers Armada, and so I'm just wondering. And Hasbro and Descartes tell me they have one of two solutions. They either make a big celebration for the 20th anniversary of Armada, or they don't do anything at all.
Or maybe they can make like another spin-off series with the same CG and kind of do something like that. Maybe no humans this time. Kind of.
Maybe.
But still, I swear, I was hoping that we would get to see an Armada character, but it's okay. At least they do end it on a cliffhanger saying that this is not the end. This is just the beginning.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't think they're going to leave us off like that. Hopefully, if we'll get another green light or something like that for another season, because I don't think they're going to leave us off with Unicron just in planet mode all the time. I at least want to see him in robot mode, because we got the toy.
Yeah. And that's one thing I liked watching when Transformers Armada was. When I watched Transformers Armada as a kid, that's one thing that really excited me, was seeing Unicron transform, and the revelation that Unicron wasn't just this like formless monster. He was in fact a transformer, like the Autobots and Decepticons.
Yeah. And yeah, like I said, I definitely enjoyed the series as a whole, and
so did I.
Even though people, and a lot of people are saying, and I watched some reviews, I won't name names, but some people are saying this is a series that doesn't make you want to go rewatch it again and again. But to me, I'll go back and rewatch the whole thing like 1,000 times. Like they did it for the Prime Wars trilogy. This like they say the Prime Wars trilogy is not good for new fans or old fans, that you should just never watch it. It's not, it's so bad it doesn't make you want to go rewatch it over and over. I rewatch it because I enjoy it. There's nothing wrong with it, in my opinion. It's its own thing.
Yeah, and I had the opposite effect of what most people are saying with the Kingdom series. I found it entertaining enough that I want to go back and watch it again and again.
Yeah,
definitely want to watch it again more times than Siege or Earthrise.
Yeah, and we already got confirmation already on what happened at the end of Earthrise on I'm going to call it the Cybertron team. They clearly did not make it, but I'm sure Jetfire could have found a way to make it. But it's confirmed that they all bit the dust. Yeah, and also like there was a Seeker among them, and also a Reflector. You could argue, or you could say that the Reflector is Scrapface from Earthrise, and the other Seeker is Skywarp.
That's what I thought when I saw that Seeker. I was like, okay, that's Skywarp standing amongst everyone.
I mean, he was kind of one of the main characters that got a lot of screen time, but not a lot at the same time. So yeah, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remembered this was what. Go ahead. You first.
No, I was just going to say that was one thing that I was disappointed about was that Shockwave wasn't one of the ghosts that stood in front of the Allspark.
I think he was abusing the power of the Sparks also in Earthrise because he was just draining their spark energy into a vampire type. But that's true. And I'm going to say this. This was one of my favorite parts with Primal. And I laughed at this because it kind of showed like a gorilla side to him. When Optimus Prime goes into the, I'll call it the Allspark chamber to go get the Allspark, and and then Megatron follows with the cloaking device, and Primal is just outside. He's just kicking the door and says, "How am I supposed to help Prime if I can't get inside? I'm talking to you, Allspark." I just started laughing because he's just that.
He likes but what got me is the next scene when he says, "This would be so much easier if I was a ghost." And then Dinobot gives him a helping transformation.
I caught that the second time watching it. I was like, oh, okay, that explains that, because I didn't have the TV up loud enough last night when first watching it. But I was like, okay, so that's how that happened. This would be much easier if I was a ghost. All right, then. I'm going to possess your body. I will say that was the thing missing in Dynamite. The animal side, like Rarebin. That kind
the snarling, like he was grunting through his nose whenever he talked.
Yeah, he did. I guess he did it a little bit, but it was not. It was to the point you didn't notice it. But it was fine with me. But
yeah,
I definitely enjoyed his voice. It's not Scott McNeil. I still like the old Dinobot voice because that's Dinobot to me, but this one would have to grow on me, but I like it no matter what.
Oh yeah.
And I'm trying to think. I definitely like the history with the Maximals and the Autobots. Like they don't trust the Autobots at all because of their history.
Yeah.
Because they're from the timeline of Galvatron and Nemesis Prime. And Prime decides to hear what Primal has to say at last second when actually face to face with his evil counterpart.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to say this. I thought for sure when Bumblebee put the Allspark back and it just flickered out of energy, I thought for sure it was over.
Oh, so did I.
I was like, oh, no. They failed. And
the part that really got me was when Alita 1 appears before Optimus Prime. You're not gonna like what I have to say. To win the battle, you need to give Megatron the Matrix of Leadership. And then Optimus Prime's response is, "You're right. I don't like it."
I'm gonna say this. This got me right here. when Optimus Prime finally gets to see Alita for the last time in Spark form, she says, "I love you, Orion." And that I could be wrong. I think that's the first time I ever heard a Transformer saying "I love you" to someone. Like at least between Optimus Prime and Alita, I should say. That got me right there.
Oh yeah.
And I do, like I said, they definitely had the relationship stuff in here, like with Starscream and Alita, or excuse me, Starscream with Black Arachnia and Optimus Prime and Alita 1.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I can almost imagine how heartbroken Optimus Prime must have felt after seeing
I know.
Just seeing
Alita 1 again, yeah.
Yeah, in the all frozen and dead and offline.
Oh yeah, with her hand still outstretched.
Yeah.
Was that the hand that she hit the detonator with?
I actually and if you go back and rewatch Earthrise, the detonators were on a timer, and I still wish we knew how she survived that, because she was at the center of the blast. She was just tied down to us Shockwave's I guess torture table or whatever, and then one of the bombs was like up on the wall near her. I still would like to have an answer on how she survived that, if she survived at all. At least her body.
Well, that's the thing here with the Kingdom. They're saying she didn't survive.
You know, besides, I can accept if that's how she died, and I'm going to say this: there definitely is a time jump. Like, I think, God darn, I have a bug here. Anyways, the Alita 1 on what happened to them, that's in the past. I think they went back to the Cybertron from the Maximal side of, or at least the Maximal side of Cybertron, I believe.
I don't think so. I think it was, like sometime after the Transformers left Cybertron, but I don't think it was at the Maximal's time. I think it was just like at the point where the Transformers finally ran out of Energon.
Yeah, that's true, because Cybertron, or the dead universe, can go through time and space, so they might have time traveled like way in the future to the point it was just a frozen wasteland.
Yeah. Yeah, because in the G1, because remember in the G1 series, that's what led to the creation of Beast Wars. In the pilot episode of Transformers Generation 1, the Transformers get stuck in comas for 4 million years.
Yeah.
And so there's no telling what could happen in 4 million years' time on Cybertron.
Yeah. And I also like the opening when the Nemesis is crashing or entering Earth's atmosphere, and Megatron is just dangling off the throne. And Starscream's like, "We need to abandon ship." "No, get me shields. Shields."
Yeah. Yeah, it was fun here. Go ahead.
Yeah, I definitely liked the graphics when the Nemesis was entering Earth's atmosphere and it was all getting burned up in re-entry. And yeah, like I definitely enjoyed some of the even though they didn't give some of the Maximals some of their catchphrases, I do like, even though it was one time, like I said, they made Cheetor say Big Bot and Rat Trap say Chopper Face. But yeah, at least when the Nemesis is bombarding the Ark, trying to bury it and destroy it, that Rat Trap could have said, "We're all gonna die." That's where they could have. That would have been a good.
Yeah, that's one of the places where I was hoping that they'd have Rat Trap say it.
Yeah, I feel bad that they didn't do it, but I guess the people that made the show, I'm not gonna confirm this, but I guess they didn't watch Beast Wars all the way. They just watched a couple of episodes, and I guess unless they chose not to put it in, I can understand that, but still.
I was hoping that the moment when Optimus Prime gave Megatron the Matrix and he ran inside the Allspark chamber, I thought for certain Optimus Primals were going to say, well, that's just Prime.
Oh, that would have been better, right? That would have got me right there if they actually did that.
That would have been a clenching moment for him to say that.
And I'm going to say this series, besides Earthrise, this Earthrise or Siege and Earthrise, this one definitely had some horror film type feel to it. It's like, here's what I mean. When the Megatron is entering the, trying to get to the Allspark chamber and all that, and he's going through the woods, and we flash back to where in Earthrise he goes to the Section 31, I believe. I could be wrong. And then he's in the building, and he sees the Allspark, and he grabs it, and he falls on the ground, only to find it's Magnus's head. And then the ground starts pulling him, or he starts getting quicksand, and also you get to see some zombie reflectors. Yeah. When they're all hallucinating, that they definitely gave some horror film type vibes to it, and scary.
Oh, yeah. It's like they're telling Megatron, it's your fault that death came to Cybertron. You wanted to lead a glorious future for us, but all you brought us was death.
Well, that's kind of like what he did. He brought death to a lot of his men when he was sacrificing them for the Nemesis.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, and I don't think Scorponok spoke. I wish he got to speak in this, but I guess he was just a regular drone. But oh my gosh, so many Scorponok drones. And also the thing that threw me off is Air Razor doing an Iron Man reference. Like, see, like in the trailer when she's doing this, shooting from the palm of her hands at the Scorponoks, I'm like, that's an Iron Man reference. And seeing it with her hands being used as thrusters and her feet being used as thrusters, I'm like, and she's flying, I'm like, that's an Iron Man reference. She's trying to be Iron Man. I'm like,
How many methods of flight does Air Razor possess?
In Beast Wars, I remember her methods of flight were her wings. She always used her wings.
Yeah, she was more like a bird.
Yeah, instead of, because that's not Beast Wars right there. I don't remember her. I went back and rewatched Beast Wars before this, and I don't remember that. The only weaponry she had was those little wrist-mounted cannons right there, and I don't think Primal got to use his wrist cannons. I don't think he got.
No, he didn't. He didn't. He relied on his swords.
And also, at least he got to use the Prime Jets, but he didn't say Prime Jets on.
No.
And a couple of times, I feel like they waited way too early. Like, for an example, when all the Maximals are outside of the Ark and they're going to the Nemesis, they all transform, and then Primal says maximize. Like, I feel like they kind of delayed it a little bit too early. They could have had him say it in gorilla mode, but And I swear,
speaking of that, one, I can't remember if that reminds me. One of the lines that had me cracking up was when they were approaching the Allspark, and it was either RC or Air Razor said, "Where's the gorilla?"
Oh yeah. And also, I like when RC and them are going with the Maximals to save Air Razor. They're not, and they're the Cogs or the repaint of Cogs and Hound and RC. They're all tired, but they're not because they're in animal form.
Yeah, and they can take the terrain more easily.
Yeah, and then Primal says, "You're wasting light," and then RC, and they're all like, "Ugh. Come on, you heard the ape." And
but all in all, I thoroughly enjoyed the Transformers Kingdom series.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it too. I'm definitely going to rewatch it again and again.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm going to say this real quick. I love when after T-Rex Megatron is fighting Primal, and then I don't know which one was talking. I think it was RC, and then T-Rex Megatron says, "I am Megatron." then gets cut off with a blaster shot, a blaster shot to the face, and Cheetor just says, "Shut up!" And then they just keep. And I felt bad right there for T-Rex Megatron. He didn't get to finish his sentence, and Cheetor just
silenced him.
I'm gonna say this. I swear, the Maximals get beat up way too much in this series, especially by like you get to see them all like they're not. I don't want to say they're not that strong, but they are strong. Like you can see, like when they board the Nemesis, they're all laid out. Like they took care of them no problem. And I'm gonna say this: I thought Soundwave died by Dinobot for a split second, getting stabbed in the chest. Oh, I can't remember. I think it was Airazor. I see the tape deck and the tapes. Oh, that was when she was with Dinobot. That was funny.
That's one thing that I liked about both the Maximals and the Autobots. They didn't take the time to memorize each other's names, so they just called them by their alt modes. Like the Autobots called the Maximals the Gorilla, the Rat, the and then they call the Maximals call the Autobots the Red, like Optimus Prime. They refer to him as the Red Truck. And
I'm gonna say that was funny right there. I like that. Rat Trap is like, what's with the truck?
Oh
my gosh. What's with the truck? Oh my gosh. That was funny. And and also the whole concept of the Allspark dying and that one can't live without the other. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
And it was a race against time trying to, because the sparks that were on Earth were giving it new life, trying to give it a second chance, but they don't have much time. But and also I like the look when Primal, like when Optimus Prime says, "Where are you from and who are you?" And when Primal says it's complicated, the look on their face when Prime says, "We encountered Quintessons and mercenaries, and we went through the dead universe."
I think I know, and the look of shock on their faces, I think that's what got them. Because like it's like an Earthrise, you had Bumblebee and RC tell each other, "I thought the Quintessons were just a myth. Not anymore."
Yeah, I think that's what got them. Like, wait, Quintessons? I thought they were a myth. And yeah, I think that's what got them right there.
Yeah, and then when Optimus Prime said, "We've traveled through the dead universe," and Maximal's all like hesitate, like, "What? The dead universe is real?"
And Rhinox found it fascinating. "You telling me you went through the dead universe? Haha, why didn't you say so?" And then programs the Ark.
I know.
How did you do that? And also, Wheeljack is not willing to listen to Rhinox, the super genius. Wheeljack is like, I don't want no one thinking I don't want no one smarter than me. I'm the smartest one among us. And I'm trying to think. And also, I guess you can also confirm that the fossilizers were in the series because, like T-Rex Megatron says, you decimated a lot of my ranks. So yeah, I guess not only Pterosaur and Tarantulas and Waspinator, I guess you could say that, like I said, the fossilizers and also the Maximals, Polar Claw was on one of the banners. So yeah, you can confirm that.
It was in the teaser poster.
Yeah. So yeah, you could say Polar Claw is part of it, but he just died off screen.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing. Well, it's the same thing with like Depth Charge and Rampage.
Yeah. Yeah, they might have been among them because there was 200 of them.
Yeah, Silverbolt, Quick Strike.
Well, I hate to tell you this. Someone else stole Silverbolt's woman, and it's Starscream. Like, hey,
Yeah.
this is my woman now. You ain't around. I'll keep her company.
Mm-hmm. I didn't really like. I don't know if this is just my opinion, but I didn't really get like a boyfriend girlfriend vibe from Starscream and Black Arachnia. I almost got like a snarky brother and sister relationship between the two of them.
Yeah, they were fighting here and there. And also, you let Megatron shoot me?
When Starscream tells Black Arachnia that. And then when Starscream steals the golden disc, she yells at him in frustration.
This was funny. When both Dinobot and Black Arachnia were following Starscream, he keeps constantly transforming just to fly. And then the last time he does it, all you see is that and he just crashes. I'm trying to get enough altitude. And they're all like, you can't get altitude here in this area.
Yeah, that was another great moment in the series. Lord Master Starscream, I'm sorry, but I've got a big day tomorrow, and I gotta get to bed. So I'm sorry, I gotta sign off.
Yeah, I'm going.
Thank you for having me on.
No problem. You want to share where they can find you, or?
Yeah, sure.
All
so
right.
you guys can find me right here on YouTube. You can also find me on Discord. Word, I've got a new laptop, and the camera is hopefully creating a much clearer image on my new computer. So I'm hoping in the coming weeks to finally getting back to doing video reviews. As you can see me, I have got a wall of Transformers action figures that I need to do video reviews on.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, you managed to get the sticker off the box.
Yeah, on Rhinox's box. Yeah.
Yay.
I started to gently peel it off, and it came off no problem.
Nice.
So yeah.
I look forward to seeing your reviews to come out.
Oh yeah.
You can find me here on YouTube, or excuse me, hang on. You can find me on Instagram at Lord Master Starscream, or the Ghost of Lord Master Starscream, I should say. Same for Discord and Twitch. I'm trying to think because I'm tired also. Stereo, and I think that's about it. Like I said, I'm tired. I'm gonna try to put a lot of that stuff on my about page so you guys could find it easier. And I think that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this review and our thoughts and opinions on it. Tell us what you think. I definitely enjoyed Kingdom. One of the best. A lot of people say it's the best out of the series, but personally, the series as a whole, it's good.
And it's definitely more entertaining than Transformers Beast Machines or Transformers Energon.
I'd rather watch this over. If some people are going to, if I was to complain about it, say like this is a terrible series, I would rather watch this series over and over again than Beast Machines. That's
exactly.
Because I can't handle Beast Machines. I still have not started back up on it. But
yeah,
I hope everyone enjoyed this review, and I hope to see you guys next time. And well, that's just